We must explain first a difference between the word density and the word that is often used as dimension. Some of you use these words interchangeably, and this is fine. It means different things to different people, as we know. A great variety of thoughts and beliefs is what makes the universe such a great place to be. But for information's sake and for understanding the messages better, this is something that must be expressed. If it is not, then these messages can be lost or mudded up is the term, I believe. And this is not what we wish to do. So let us explain the ideas between density and dimension and the different terminologies that we use within this. The idea of density is very complex compared to the idea of dimension. So let us tackle the word dimension first. The word dimension is very much as it sounds. The word dimension is a specific area within what you think of as time, space, or space. And this is the height and depth and width of the space itself, or time-space if you call it this. And also time is being a coordinate within this. And this brings up the differences in the fourth and fifth dimension. In the fourth dimension there is height and depth and width and time, and these are the four dimensions. But time is experienced in a different way than it is in the fifth dimension. In the fifth dimension, time becomes less of a one-way or progressive flow from beginning to ending, a linear fashion, and it is turned into a quite liquid or traversable unit of measurement, where it becomes very easy to go back, forth, sideways, frontways, crossways, any way that you decide to do this. And this is very important because ones who use these words, dimensions, often confuse this when it is being spoke of the third densities or fourth densities and fifth. Most of you understand the word fifth dimension to be where we are headed into on this planet, into this, and this is the truth. The fifth dimension is where the fourth density begins, but these are quite different, and this is why I must explain this. So if you understand now a dimensional setting, I will explain to you the density. The density is a measurement of the harmonic level of matter, hence the name density. It becomes less dense the higher it goes. As for the third density, which you are on now, there are three levels within the third density. It is one harmonic level, but there is three levels, and this is why it is first through third density. All of these are on the same harmonic level, the same amount of density, the most solid and concrete structurization of all densities is the first to the third. And these are all on the same harmonic level. And this is why you hear so many differences between there only being six densities, or if there is only five within physical and three in non-physical, which is eight. Or if you hear the structuralizations of 12 and 13 becoming the creator. There are many different ways to see this, and this is why I must explain this on the ways that I speak of, on the ideas of the way my race sees this and separates these ideas. If you look at harmonic level, and harmonic level means exactly this as well. A harmonic level is what you might think of as the rate of the molecule's vibrations. So if you share time and space, you are able to have two densities in the same time and space. One will not be able to see the other. And this is only because the level of vibration of the molecules on these levels are very different. For instance, you reside in the third density, which is the first harmonic level. And you share this with animals and plants and bacteria, a simple life form, anything that you consider to be alive, known as the second density, and the molecules that make up the density itself, or the elements within, which you consider first density, the oxygen molecules, the water molecules that are put together, fire, electricity, rocks, all of the elements and all of the specific building blocks are considered first density. And the reason that they are not all grouped into one is because the word density also implies a great spiritual evolution within, or a consciousness evolution. What I mean by this is the difference between water and plants is a very great difference in consciousness. It can be several hundred times larger of consciousness that is used in the plant compared to just the water. And then again, when you make the jump from all of these life forms, which second density is a very wide array of different levels of consciousness, because there is so much that is in there, but it does not truly jump until you reach what the density you are in now, which is the third density. Once you reach this third density to become a human, as you are, the consciousness level jumps just the same amount or more, depending on what level of evolution that you are on, as it does from the first to second, from the second to third. And this is why the same harmonic level is broken up into several smaller levels. So this one harmonic level is broken into three densities. And even though they are truly the same density of matter, they are still on different consciousness and evolutionary levels. So we use this to separate. And then we move on to the next harmonic level. And this is what includes the fourth and the fifth density. The fourth and the fifth density share harmonic levels to an extent. Towards the end of the fifth, it is what you might call a transformation zone to what you might think of as a pre-matter or a quasi or a semi-matter. And this is where the level of vibration of the molecules that make this density up become much greater. But not jumping ahead of ourselves. In the fourth and fifth density, there is a great evolutionary and consciousness shift again from the fourth to the fifth density. And in the way that the molecules are made up, it is the same, but it is very different from one into the other. This is much like using an example of water or hydrogen in states. If you have a hydrogen molecule by itself and then compare it to the different ways that you can use this in water, or the different states of water when it is combined with two hydrogen and the oxygen molecule making water, and then comparing this to the three states of water being made, the gas and liquid and solid forms of water. So even though it is the same, much as the hydrogen is compared to the three states, it is in different states. And this is why the fifth and fourth are separated. Now, in using these ideas, you must understand that in a lower density, things are not as fully matter. It is not as strong or as hard. As if you had a fourth or fifth density entity as myself, if we were to come to your density in pure form, then we would be able to go through physical structures. And this is why sometimes you see what you think of as ghosts, because your spirit or consciousness is in this vibration that is higher. It is any harmonic vibration that is a buffer area or in-between state of the third and fourth density. And in the fourth density, when the physical body is gone, it moves to the buffer area of what you call the fourth and the fifth. And it goes from the same on every level. And each level has its own unique properties, and each buffer area has its own unique levels and different ideas of what can be done. In the afterlife is much like the regular life, besides the physical harmonic level that you reside on. This is the only difference. Well, not only, there's much difference in spiritual growth and learning and teaching, but this is the difference. Now, let us go into the sixth density. This is again a harmonic rise. It is a next harmonic level that is up. And this is very important because this is where it becomes what you might think of, some think of as pre-matter or before physical matter. And this is very, very not physical in the sense of being physical. It is what you might call a quasi or semi-physical matter. This is a matter that is such high vibration that it is considered to be light or higher than this in vibration. Understand that the human eye, or even the machines that humans use to perceive energy, are only able to see small variations of energy. The spectrum of energy that is available is much greater than any of it that is within. So understand these basic differences. Now, as we go into further idea, anything that I speak of from the seventh density or higher, evolves in a non-physical realm. In this non-physical realm, we will speak of this when we get there, but this is all non-physical reality. This is pure consciousness. And pure consciousness is at this level that is seventh density or higher, but these specific energies and entities can directly produce their full consciousness into physical reality in ways that you might see as planets or stars or complete galaxies. There are many different ways, and we will cover this when we get to this point. But this is a very important part to explain because it is very important to understand. That when I speak of these densities, it is no longer of harmonic level or physical being. In the seventh and higher are all only referring to the jumps or the differences in consciousness level. And consciousness is what we are. It is the piece of the Creator that He has separated from Himself to create life. And this is the greatest understanding of all of the things that we speak of in densities, dimensions, or even when we start to get into other universes or other parts of physical reality that are parallel, different matrices, if you will, of the same universes, then we will speak of these things. But this is the basic covering of all of this information that is well needed for you to understand the differences in the densities. Next we will speak of the fourth density, what it is to be in the positive and negative of both of these. But after this we will start getting more in depth to the information that is needed in the fifth and sixth, positive and negative, and in the seventh, when it comes to be positive and negative together. And we will share these ideas greatly with you as we go. Thank you for your time, and I leave you all in love and light, and I will experience you, speak to you, or connect to you again. Thank you. Goodbye.